Hello everyone, welcome to Coffee Live with Jerome and Jillian. We are going to have a really great conversation today, so just sit tight as we work to get Jerome on the call and we will get started. Hope you all are having a great Monday, Cinco de Mayo. It's always fun. Today, we are going to have a pretty, hopefully an informative conversation with Jerome. The past month, all throughout April, we came on here every Monday and met with some of our staff. We met with our mental health staff, our spiritual director, our graduates who now work for Emmaus House. And all of these conversations we had were centered around the idea of cultivating joy, which is our theme at Emmaus House this year. And those conversations that we were able to have with them were really just inspirational and just gave me a lot of hope and a lot of joy, and I hope they did for you as well. Today, things are going to be a little different, and it's back to just me and Jerome. We're back to just having these lives on the first Monday of each month, and today is going to be more educational. We're going to be talking about the gangs in Haiti. I'm not sure just how much everybody has been able to pick up on the news. It's not something that is often on the news here in the States, and so we want to make sure that everybody just has a better understanding of how these gangs got started, when they got started, what their motive is, what they're doing, and how it impacts us at Emmaus House. So, all right, working on getting Jerome on here. But I hope this conversation will just be really helpful for everybody, give everybody some more clarity and understanding. I have a lot of questions for Jerome as well. So anyway, while we're waiting on Jerome though, if you have questions pertaining to the gangs in Haiti or what's going on in Haiti, then I would love for you to just put those questions in the comments and we will try to get those to Jerome. Apologize for, let's see if this works. All right, I think we're going to get him on in just a second. Here he comes. Jerome, we can hear you. Can't see you yet, but we can hear you.
All right, Mackenzie is working on getting it set up.
Perfect. Look at you. You got a suit on and everything for our conversation today.
Yes, good.
But more importantly, do you have coffee?
I do. I have my coffee right here.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I have to say, my coffee is a little cold because I've had it sitting on my desk all morning. So your coffee, I know, was just made fresh.
It
so
just
probably tastes better than mine.
Yes.
Okay, well, Jerome, I've really been looking forward to this conversation. I was telling everybody while we were waiting for you that, the past few lives that we've done have been more inspirational, been more joyful, right? Because they've been centered around cultivating joy. And so those were just really great conversations to have with our staff, and more fun, I think, than the conversation we're going to have today. Because today's conversation's going to be a little hard, but I'm hoping that we can provide some just information and education to our community, because there is a lot going on in Haiti right now that's not often talked about in our news here in the States. And so unless you're intentionally going out and looking for the information, most people aren't getting it. Most people aren't learning about what's going on in your country right now. So I'm hoping that today we can shed some light on the situation.
Very good. I'm ready also to share with everyone our situation here in Haiti, as this time is for coffee with Jillian and Gerome, and I welcome everyone today, Monday, the 5th, and our live. So welcome everyone.
Yes. Well, let's get started, Jerome. So there's so much we could talk about, but we're gonna specifically talk about the gangs, and kind of when they got started, where they got started, why they got started, what's going on in Haiti right now, with them. And so I was just kind of doing some research, and when we say gangs in Haiti, we're not talking about just a couple. We're talking about a few hundred gangs throughout the country. Most of them, however, are located in southern Haiti, in and around Port-au-Prince. Currently, it's said that they control 85% of the capital. Some say 90%, some say 95. I don't know. But the point is that it's pretty close to the entire capital. That
Yes.
they're controlling. And when we say that, Jerome, when we see in the news or hear in the news, the gangs control 85% of the capital, what does that mean exactly that they control it?
Yes, that's mean they control the area where they fight, where they fight for, where
Mm-hmm.
they chase the population, and where they chase the population. And let's see a while back how that started. And the story of gangs have several decades rooted in Haiti history, where after, like in 1990, during and after Duvalier regime, back in 1986. So we, we know that there was that dictatorship in power. They were in power, and they, after when the power just fell, the power fell, there was couple of like group of elite and political that start their own group to control area.
Mm-hmm.
Like they start their own group to control area, and then after them, that routine continues where elite and people in the government use that system by having group or the members where they give them gun to gain control, like their own control of their environment.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the notorious um, example is the Shime system.
Okay.
The Shime system that President Jean-Bertrand Aristide administration in the early 2000, like his gang was, he started that same system on his administration. And his gang called the Shime was really loyal to him, like was really loyal to him at that time. And they really gain power at that time where they control different area for the president, I mean for Aristide, and they would control access to drug or area or member that against the regime, and that would in continuous president after president. And then when that's that's what brings us to the system right now, and it's the start of it. And it's the people in the government, they want to gain power, they want to control, and they on their own will, and they start to create their force, their own force. They start to give them gun and to control their environment.
Yeah. So the gangs have been around for decades, but they rose in power a lot, specifically after 2021. So maybe can we go back a few years? What happened in 2021 in Haiti? And why did that kind of give space for the gangs to rise up and have more power?
In those years, you see that that year how the Elite and the President Aristide, how they have division among them, and to help with that division and to control for Aristide to control the system, like he would he would have his group like different area on different area. He would like have his group form a group of guys, especially in the ghetto, and he will arm those guys. Like he will give them guns to control his control his business, to control the power, and it's a fight for power.
Right. So in 2021, Jovenel Moïse was assassinated, and he was the president of Haiti.
Yes.
So I think we see just in the past 2 years a big rise in the gangs having power ever since his assassination. Can you talk more about that?
Yes. And to understand that, we need to know exactly what the gangs want.
Okay, let's start there.
Yeah, we need to know what they want.
Okay.
And how we get to the point we are right now. The gangs in Haiti, they are motivated with a mix of power, profit, and survival also, because they have the government, part of the government that, and the law, that they are against the law, and they know they could, they have to survive. They are in survival mode,
right?
Because they are not on the right path. So they have political ties to, when I said political ties, to the government or to the Senate or to the deputy. So they serving the elite also and the politician in exchange for weapon, for protection, or for money. So they are operate like organized crime syndicate. That's how they operate. Primarily, the gangs want like territory, control over territory. They want to control tax because when they gain territory, they tax transportation,
Right. So it's a
like
business.
exactly, and they tax like traffic goods, and they want to have access to different resources. They want to have access to different resources as far as money, weapon, like food and fuel, and they want also to have power over the community, and they are acting like they are judge, like they are judge, like they would bring justice, their own justice, like they are police, like they would act to execute their mission, like they are put themselves as executioner,
Right.
like, and they and then they act toward the community like they bring protection to the community, but it's through corruption and fear they are living.
Yeah.
And many of those gangs are operate as local warlord. So they are operate as local warlord. So they raise and they they are raising, and as more as they are raising and they are growing, as more that they want to gain more territory. And to come to like the Haitian government, like Joseph Maurice, after his death, we see that the gangs are going more. They are going more because where there's instability, government instability, they gain more power.
Right.
And let's think back on after the regime of Duvalier, the dictatorship regime, the same instability, the coup, that's what allow people to have more gun and to have them to, so they have more control over the population, over their area.
Yeah.
So where there's government instability, the gangs are growing more.
Right.
And that's evident because of that's evident to see right now in Haiti because of all the instability, uh, government instability we've been facing, and we see how the plan isn't working. Like the plan to we eradicate or to stop the gang is not working.
Right. Right. So the gangs, since the beginning, what they're wanting is, first of all, security for themselves. They're wanting power. They're wanting to be in charge, right, of gaining that power. And it's a business. It's a way to make money.
Exactly.
And so, once, the president was assassinated a few years ago. Sorry, my dog is barking as we talk down beneath me. But when he was assassinated, it really created space for them to take even more power because there wasn't anybody in charge. There was nobody running the
Exactly.
show. And
Yes.
so, and there still really isn't. I mean, we have the council, right? and kind of temporary people in place, but there still has not been an election for a new president.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the gangs have really created that situation on purpose.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Jerome, when we talk about the gangs having control of the city or the capital, and we talk about, you know, just you kind of gave a few examples of them like taxing transportation, in and out of their communities and on the main roads. But if you could just share a little bit more about what they're actually doing in Haiti, and what they're doing in the communities, what they are doing, on the main roads, and how that is just impacting the entire country as a whole.
Yes. We need to understand the level of the brutality that has forces over 360,000 people to flee their home entirely. That create a humanitarian disaster.
Yeah.
And what the gangs are doing in Haiti right now is impacted um, negatively the population and the country as a whole. And currently, the gangs are causing destruction and across Haiti and suffering, especially in Port-au-Prince. They in Port-au-Prince, like we said, they gang like 80% or over the territory of Port-au-Prince right now. When they, what they doing is when they gang the territory, they destroy infrastructure.
Yeah.
And they attack hospital and school. And first they would attack the police station and government building.
And the
So
prisons.
yeah, prisons. So that's what they are doing. They open prisons, like in the early 2024, they opened the one of the big prison in Port-au-Prince, and they free thousands of inmates, and they chose the they chose people among the prisoner to come join them. So they blocking roads, they taking over communities, and they use extreme violence. They murder people and rape, and kidnap and torture those who oppose to them or refuse to cooperate. They create a lot of fear, and they using terror tactic, and they remain control and resistance. And every territory they took, they would set the guys there to watch over the territory and to control that territory. And it's like one territory after another when they gain a territory. So it's like they are creating their own map, and they know what they are doing, and by gaining more territory, because it's like they it's like organized crime right now, organized terrorists, like we can say.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you heard this, Jerome, but the government in the United States just designated two of the largest gangs in Haiti as terrorist organizations. They just gave them that label.
Yes, yes, I've heard that on the news.
Yeah. So, Jerome, what is has been the response of what is left of the Haitian government? What's been the response of foreign government? Kind of what has been happening the past few years, if anything?
Um, I mean, I can say the foreign government right now, I would say they are silent, but let's see back on how they responded to the crisis right now. I mean, our police force is obviously is not able to face the reality by dealing with the gangs.
Mm-hmm.
And our political leadership right now, as in Haiti, has lack of munition, of guns, of good security system to deal with the gang. And after the assassination of President Jovenel Moise, the UN have worked a plan with the Kenyan force to come and to help our police force with more strategies um, to stop the gang. But their deployment here, as we can see, doesn't bring lots of or doesn't bring success,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not been successful because it's obvious we see the gangs are gaining more territory. And from the news, we heard that there was one of them were killed, and we have other forces from other country that came to join the police force also, and we we haven't seen uh, more result from all of that planning. And as for humanitarian aids, it that continues to flow in, but because of the lack of security, it's difficult. The condition, often prevent the delivery of those help here. So it is difficult because the international right now, it's I can say they are silence
Mm-hmm.
as far as to quick response to the crisis that been going for years right now. It's they are silent as far to an answer to those to the crisis we are facing right now.
Yeah.
So far, they their effort have been slow and limited, and without a strong internal leadership
Mm-hmm.
that well coordinate with the international support. So the progress has been minimal right
Mm-hmm.
now because we don't have a strong leadership system to help implement a good security plan to face the crisis.
Yeah.
That's been really difficult.
Yeah. Jerome, there have been, I think they've been police, right, that have come in from other countries to help assist the police in Port-au-Prince.
Yes,
What countries have sent people, and do you think that's helping at all?
we have the Kenyan first that were first came, and then we have uh, we have some other countries
Mm-hmm.
that have sent the the men here, but it's not been successful.
Yeah.
It has not been successful.
Yeah. So Emmaus House is located in northern Haiti, and we don't have, as of now, we don't have a lot of this gang violence that we're talking about, but it still affects our work. It still affects our city. And it definitely affects the mental capacity of our youth and our staff, because this is always kind of in the back of everybody's mind, what's going on in their country. And just how have you seen this, Jerome, affect your ministry and what you're doing with the young people at Emmaus House and leading our staff?
Could you please, you mean how that affects
Mm-hmm.
the youth in Haiti?
Yeah, or well, we'll get to that, but just at Emmaus House, how has it affected? Because I know this is a conversation we've had a number of times about how it's kind of a background fear, right? That our youth often are facing, especially when you hear about, the next community that the gangs have taken over. And we have youth that go to school elsewhere in the country, and it's just scary. And so how has that affected everybody at Emmaus House and the work that you're doing with them?
Yes, that's affect deeply everyone and every youth, and it's affect the first of all our system. Whenever there is a gas shortage,
Mm-hmm.
whenever there is like food cannot reach to us, and whenever there is a news that the gangs are getting closer to CAP, and whenever there is news about the gangs are planning to come to CAP, or the gangs are in CAP, because there's different rumor recently that's been saying the gangs the CAP, it's a location where the gangs envision to
Mm-hmm.
take. So our youth, they saw that it's a threat and it's a menace for the growing or
Mm-hmm.
for their future. And it's create an environment of fear. It's
Mm-hmm.
create an environment of fear that um, they not certain what, as far as their plan for the future, if the gangs came, it
Mm-hmm.
would be all over.
Yeah.
Like it would be all over. Everything they had um, planned for the future and their objective, like everything would would be over once the gangs came, once they gain territory. So this isn't a good system for our youth, and for school, for university, like for the society as a whole. This system, it's create fear among our youth. And as we know, when you live a fear in a situation that you are fear, you aren't responded well to uh, what happened in your environment
Mm-hmm.
when you dealing with that fear.
Right.
So we can see that our youth, we can see that they are fear. There's fear, and we been having that talk with them
Mm-hmm.
we where we said it's all gonna be okay. Where we need to resist. We need to stay together because the situation, we don't have control over the situation.
Yeah. So, Jerome, I know there's so much more we could talk about. And we could spend all day sitting here and kind of and talking this through. But I do want to end on one question. At Emmaus House, we exist to help orphaned youth. And orphan youth typically are the prime targets for gangs to recruit. They go into a community, especially like you mentioned, the slums, they go into vulnerable communities and they seek out young people who don't have family connections to stay rooted with, who don't have a place to belong, who aren't able to afford school, who don't feel like they have opportunities for their futures. And those are the perfect people for them to recruit to join the gangs because they're desperate, they're hopeless.
Yes.
They can, find at least a group of people to belong to, right? And so, you know, I look at what we're doing in Emmaus House and I wonder if youth throughout the country had more places like Emmaus House where they could have a place to belong, where they could feel safe and secure, where they could have opportunities in education, where they could feel that there is a sense of hope for their futures. Do you think the gangs would lose power?
That's a really great question. That's a really good question, Jillian. Thank you for that question
Yeah.
because we see how our, the youth in Haiti are being perished in that gang system.
Mm-hmm.
Like some, because the, the because the gangs are recruit, recruiting youths to fight on their side. We see how they are losing their life. And to answer your question, I would say, I would say no. Like if Haiti youth, like the gang wouldn't be able to grow like they are going right now. If Haiti have a good system set like us at the Mayor's house, especially for the most vulnerable, like orphan and abandoned children, if they had real opportunity, I know and I'm for sure that the power of the gang will be diminished significantly. Their power would be diminished if we had an education system to empower those who are in need, those who need who needs a plan for their future. They would have a sense of belonging and identity to to realize that they are Haiti's citizen and they need to work for this country to prosper, not for the destruction of this country. They would have like daily survival, food, like shelter and protection, and they would have income, like to taking care of themselves.
Yeah.
Even through difficult time, they will feel belonging. And when the youth feel abandoned, hopeless, and desperate, the gang become a place where they can go, and it's become an alternative for them. And if they are instead have a great system to help them, to empower them, to give them access to education, to give them stable housing and emotional support, and to plan for the job, for the career, I know the gangs, the gangs recruitment would be diminished if we have a system set like what we are doing at the Mayor's House to help empower our youth. And it would create a system of hope for the Haitian youth so they can see themselves in a better future. They can see themselves as the subject of development for this country, not a subject of destruction for this country, because because they would they don't feel right now as children of Haiti. They are fleeing the country to go somewhere else. They are fleeing gangs, they are fleeing violence, they are fleeing their own territory because of all the violence that happened. And we can't, we cannot continue to live like that. And we cannot go against them for that, for fleeing those difficulties, because there isn't a system in place right now to help them plan for their future. But like like I mentioned, if we have a set system, a secure system to empower our youth for Haiti, not for elsewhere, not empower youth for other country, but empower youth to stay in Haiti, empower youth for the well prosper for this country. So it's really, it come from the roots. It's come from a father, like example, a father who wants good for the family, who wants the family to prosper, who wants good for the kids, to serve the purpose of this country. So by creating many coups d'etat, by creating instability, political instability, it's only it's only lead us to destruction. But instead, creating stability will will lead us to change and will change that our youth can feel better in the future. Because
Well, Jerome, what you
there's
said reminded me, I mean, it's right in our vision statement that, we exist to help orphaned youth find restored hope and be empowered to create a more stable future for Haiti. And that's what we're striving to do at Emmaus House. And Jerome, we need to unfortunately end our time together. But before we do, is there any last words that you would want those who are watching, if somebody's watching from the States, and I think oftentimes we see news, especially when it's hard news or bad news coming out of other countries, and it makes us feel helpless. Like what could we possibly do, to help that situation? So if people are watching and they're hearing about, what the gangs are doing in Haiti, what is your encouragement to them? What can they do? I mean, prayer is obviously our first answer, is praying. But what else would you suggest people to do?
And my last word to everyone, and especially youth who are watching us. And I know one thing to know. Um, we need to choose hope over violence.
Mm.
We need to choose hope over violence, and we see that violence doesn't resolve itself. It doesn't resolve itself, and that's why we at the Mace House, we are doing what we are doing at the Mace House. It's not just important, it's life saving.
Mm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
not just important, it's life saving. When we are empower one youth person to see a different feature, it means one fewer recruit for less fewer recruit for the game,
Yeah.
and it's mean one more seed of change in a broken system. It's one more seed of change in a broken system. And I think everyone who are watching us and who take this time to hear us in our subject or this today about the gangs, and please share and comment, and we are here to answer any question you may have. And
Absolutely.
thank you, Jillian.
Yeah, thank you, Jerome. Thanks for being willing to talk about this. I know this is a hard conversation to have, and just know that we as in my family, we pray daily. My son Jake, he's my favorite to listen to him. I have so much joy when I listen to him pray. He's very just intentional about his prayers, and every night when it's his turn to pray, he prays for Haiti. And he prays for its safety. And I think if everybody could join in his prayer, that would just be really meaningful. And just know you're not alone, Jerome. We're here with you.
Thank you, Jillian. Thank you. And we thank all our supporters of the work that we are doing at the Mace House. We thank everyone for being in the journey, in this journey with us, and empower youth in Haiti.
Thank you. All right, Jerome, we'll be back on the first Monday in June for our next Coffee Live. So it's going to be a few weeks before we get to have one of these coffee dates together, but we will pick things back up the first Monday in June. And everybody, I hope to see you there. If you were listening to this today and you have other questions that you have about the gangs in Haiti, please feel free to still send those comments, and we'll try to get that answer to you. And like we said, just please continue to pray. Pray for Haiti, pray for the young people in Haiti, pray for the leaders in Haiti. Pray for people like Jerome who are trying to make a difference there. And find, if it's not Emmaus House, find an organization that is working to, like Jerome said, save lives, right? Is working to make an impact, make a difference. There are so many people doing good things in Haiti. You hear about the bad a lot, and I know we talked about that a lot today, but there is a lot of good happening there. There is a lot of movement. God is alive and well in Haiti, and he's on the move, and we just need to be a part of what he's doing. So find people to support, and we will continue to pray together. But I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week, and we will see you on the first Monday in June for another coffee with Jerome and Jillian. All right. Bye, everyone. Bye, Jerome.
All right. Bye, everyone. Bye, Jillian.